Hello my Beatles friends. Welcome back to another video. In this video I'd like to express my opinion about the upcoming release of American albums in the box set, which is going to be released on 22nd of November this year. Gosh, I love this topic. Whoever follows my channel and watches my videos, you all know that I don't like American albums. I don't consider them as a studio albums. For me, they are just compilations. And the way the songs are shuffled on those albums, they are compilations. And they made such a mess with those songs. So, first of all, let me show you the albums that will be in the box. I have a few. This is Meet the Beatles, the first one. The Beatles second. A Hard Day's Night soundtrack, which was originally released on United Artists, not Capitol. A very interesting choice, The Beatles Story. Something new. Beatles 65, which was released in 64. And the early Beatles, which was actually released in 65. But the box is called Capitol Albums in 1964 on mono. So we all know that they stopped releasing mono albums in 1968. So this is the first time it was released on mono. It's going to be released on mono since 1968. So this is one advantage. But initially, the Hard Day's Night soundtrack was on United Artists, was not on Capitol. So now we know that it belongs to Capitol, and that's why they include it here in the box. But the question is, why wasn't it released with these boxes on CDs? Here we have mono and stereo as well. Here we do not have a Hard Day's Night. That's a question number one. Also about the Hard Day's Night, a few songs from that album later appeared on Hey Jude compilation because they were never released on Capitol, and that's why they ended up here. We are talking about I Should Have Known Better and Can't Buy Me Love. But there is also a couple of other songs. For example, Hard Day's Night. Hard Day's Night, the song Hard Day's Night was released only on Capitol soundtrack and single. But it was not chosen to be released on Hey Jude. So in combination of a Hard Day's Night soundtrack, because it consists of some instrumentals, in combination with something new, plus a few other songs, we are getting the full standing Hard Day's Night album. So for me, it's considered to be as one album. The second topic that really bothers me, and I see it as a disadvantage, is choosing this one. I mean, why is this album considered to be a Beatles album in America? This is just an, documentary, an interview, and maybe a few live performances. But it doesn't, for me, I don't consider it to be a full standing double album. But this one is released only with the box set, exclusive for the box set. You will not be able to buy this one separately, and thank God for that. But the box will contain all 7 albums, which this is double, and the difference in the price between the box, complete box, and 6 other albums bought separately, the difference is something around 120 euros. So if you want to get this album with a new release, you're going to have to pay 120 euros more. My question, does it worth it? I personally think that it's a good thing that it's not released separately because nobody's going to buy it, especially for the prices we have today for double albums. But does it worth paying 120 euros more for the box exclusively for this album when you have all of them separately? I think actually that disadvantage is that this album being released exclusively for the box is decreasing the chances of the box being bought, That's my thought. I think that choosing to release this album is very, very bad choice. So for me, from 7 we're down to 6, and a Hard Day's Night soundtrack, excluding all the instrumentals with something new, we are down to 5. Um, the rest of the albums, with Meet the Beatles, second album, 65, and the early Beatles, I don't have any problem with that. But there are still several songs that were never released on Capitol. It's Misery, A Taste of Honey, and Love Me Do. They were released on VJ, and later they were released separately on the Beatles' Rarities album. Let's look at the song list of Rarities album for a second, shall we? Love Me Do, Misery, There's a Place, She liebt dich, the German version of She Loves You, and I Love Her. Now, And I Love Her was actually released on something new, but different version. Okay, so we're not going to talk about this one. Also, Something New has the German version of I Wanna Hold Your Hand. But for me, those two songs are always coming together as a pair. They were released as a single in Germany, but Americans decided to separate those songs. So I Wanna Hold Your Hand, the German version, was released on Something New album, but She Loves You was not. So that's why it appears here. Also, There's a Place, Misery, and Love Me Do. Those three songs are from the Please Please Me album. Now, the Please Please Me album was in different variation issued on VJ as introducing the Beatles, and since VJ lost their rights and Capitol bought the rights, they were released on Early Beatles. So Early Beatles, which was released in 65, consists of the Please Please Me songs. So my question is, when are we going to get these songs released? Are they going to release the remixed version of Rarities? Who knows? Are they going to release the new version of Hey Jude? Who knows? But still, there are a few songs were not released on Capitol, and still we are not getting them even today. So I see that as a big disadvantage. Still, the things are missing. Instead of correcting those mistakes, and instead of giving the audience the songs that they want, why not use those songs which were released on Rarities album as a few bonus songs? Why not putting them on small EP or releasing one extra album? If they would use those unreleased songs on Capitol at the time, if they would release them in a separate album, a special exclusive album, instead of this one with the box, I think the chances would be much, much higher this box to be successful. But paying 120 euros more only for that album, I don't think it's a good idea. So for me, it's a, cash grab, as usual. So if I consider buying those albums, I will buy them separately. And still I will not be satisfied because there's a few songs are missing. The mistakes are not corrected. And still we're waiting for Rarities and Hey Jude. Now, another question that I want to ask you is if Can't Buy Me Love and I Should Have Known Better appear on Hey Jude, and now the Hard Day's Night soundtrack is being released with this box, what's gonna happen next? Will there be a second box? Maybe 65, 66, maybe the Beatles 6, Help, Rubber Soul, Revolver, Yesterday and Today, and Sgt. Pepper will be released in one, and Magical Mystery Tour will be released in a second box? And what's gonna happen with the later albums, like White Album, Yellow Submarine, Abbey Road, Let It Be? What's gonna happen with them? And if they decide to include Hey Jude in one of the boxes, will they include Can't Buy Me Love and I Should Have Known Better as well? Who knows? Now, the song Hard Day's Night appeared on Capitol only as a single in United Artists soundtrack and as a single. But it was not chosen for Hey Jude. Also a mystery. So these are my, initial thoughts about this box. I was a bit disappointed with these two box sets, and now they tell me that it's going to be original mono mixes, which are a bit different from the British ones, and that is exactly why I'm considering buying those albums, maybe one or two, because I want to hear the differences. So I see more disadvantages than advantages by releasing this box set. So for me, it's not so good news. Maybe for Americans, for all my American friends, maybe it's a good news because you grew up with these albums. But for me, they are just shuffled compilations that make no sense. Okay? And especially releasing this one as a box exclusive, I think it's a big mistake because there is nothing important with this album and there is nothing, it will never be sought after. And I think that decreases the value of the box. People will be buying the separate albums, and when the separate albums will be sold out, who bought the box will be selling those albums separately, leaving empty box with this one. And it happens a lot. For example, the Beatles collection, the blue box that was released in 1978, that's what people do. They take out all the albums and they sell them separately. Also the Rarities album and also the EP blue box that contains exclusive EP for that box with Baby You're a Rich Man, you know that one? With the Strawberry Fields cover on it. Yeah, that was worth buying. And that EP was released specially for the box, and today that EP alone costs like half of the price of the box. And with this one, I think they made a big mistake because it does not increase the interest for the box. I'd be happier if they released Rarities or Hey Jude or Past Masters for that matter, because these albums contain different versions, different takes, different overdubs, and so on. But releasing the same thing once again, I don't find it interesting. And I was hoping to get the Rubber Soul box this year, but they tell me that it's going to be released in next year, in 2025, because it's going to be 60th anniversary. So we're going to have to wait another year. They're not going to release it in March or June, something like that. They're gonna announce it maybe in summer, and we're gonna get it by late October, November. So it's 1 year, another year to wait for the Rubber Soul box. And talking about this one, I'm a bit disappointed. For me, there are only 4 albums worth buying here, and the rest. So we'll see. These are my initial thoughts, and long story short, I am not going to buy the box, and maybe I will buy a few separate albums, maybe the Meet the Beatles, the blue one, and I will be comparing the differences. Okay? Definitely I'm not going to be listening to this one. Okay, thank you very much for watching. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe, write a comment, anything you like, everything is welcome, appreciated. And thank you very much for watching, and I see you in my next video.